Yes,
Absolutely.
that was another thing that we did. We talked about old commercials, old TV shows,
All
old.
right, I guess we're
Woo.
live now, Dave.
Hey, let's say good evening and welcome to Grit Grown Here podcast, where character matters. Our crew tonight is me, David from Annapolis, Maryland. I'm sitting next to my buddy Rob Benson from Pasadena. Jim and his wife is missing, but Jim is in Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. We've got Gordon and Jess here that will be celebrating their anniversary next week.
Yay.
So we want to say happy Cinco de Mayo to them before we get back together.
Yes, happy anniversary
Happy Cinco.
to you.
Yeah.
Happy anniversary to you.
Okay, so
Okay.
we're going to start our discussion tonight about stepping up, growing up. And so for a starter, is there something that can be said about character growing in the middle of the mess? I think I forgot a segment, didn't I?
That's probably because
Because you
I
scrolled a little too
by.
fast. So we're going to put that on hold for just a second, and we're going to do our grit growing anything goofy, unusual happenings during the week. So if you've got something to share with us, I'm ready to hear it.
All right.
What do you
cool.
got there, Mr.
For me,
World Traveler?
it would be World Traveler, San Antonio. I think for me it would be something I'm grateful for.
Okay.
It's not on there, but
It's-
I'm
well,
just
but,
doing
you know,
what Jim
it's-
did last week.
It's unusual, so we're
it's
going to call it.
unusual. Oh yeah, yes, being grateful, very, very much.
It's
true.
unusual gratitude.
So visiting San Antonio and seeing relatives I hadn't seen in 20 years was very good, particularly the ones that were like teenagers last time I saw them, and now they're like into their 30s, beginning of their 40s, and just seeing how they've grown and just sitting around and reminiscing about their memories from their childhood. Because my mom and dad, my family, when they lived up here in Maryland, my family was involved with them.
Mm-hmm.
And we were really close. And then they moved down to San Antonio, and of course, distance.
Distance.
Right. And then people growing and doing life, and everybody's on their, doing their thing, if you will. So it was nice catching up and reconnecting with them and just seeing how they've grown and how they've changed. And they're good people. That was very encouraging.
Good to hear it.
Yeah.
But, the difference, I think, today versus when, the Stone Age, when you were growing up.
Yes.
The difference is we now have all this connectivity through the internet or telephones and things like that. So I'm thinking that for my children who are in their 30s, they've had a chance to stay in contact a little bit better with their friends. And so I'm grateful for that, because I get to hear stuff about cousins that, gosh, I haven't seen for a lot of years.
Right. Yeah. There's nothing like that face-to-face, like you were talking about a couple minutes ago.
Yep.
When you sit down with somebody you hadn't seen for a long time, even if it's, 20, 30 years, especially if you were close connection. You had a close connection. It's almost like you pick up where you left off.
Yeah, and so that kind of relates right into my happy space for this past weekend. A friend came up and stayed 5 days with us. He was a childhood friend, literally over at the house every day when we were young. And definitely as we got into older teenage years, we got ourselves into whatever trouble we could think.
Yes, of course.
Yes. But I mean, we were laughing and joking, and we just had a marvelous time. And he just said, I was worried about coming up here and spending that much time when we haven't seen each other for any length of time in almost 50 years, because he went into the service and went all around the world, and then he settled in San Antonio where Rob was. And so he comes here and Rob goes there. Yes, that's right. So, but it's like we just left off right where we started. And it was truly wonderful. It was truly,
That is
truly
great.
wonderful. So
That
I'm
is
thankful
great.
for that.
Making that connection again.
Yeah, again and again and
Yeah.
again. Mr. Gordon, you got anything?
Oops, I gotta hit that button. This week has been just one challenge after another. So just building. So yeah. Oh, we forgot to plug that in. Oops.
It's okay. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah, keep talking. Yes. So yeah, I mean that's just been one building. Yeah, just constant running around, constant trying to get things done, and just trying to keep up. I feel like I'm in an ocean right now, with nothing around me and not even a life, not even a pool noodle to hold me.
Pool noodle.
Not even a pool
Pool
noodle.
noodle. Okay, well, I have one in the garage, and I'll give it to you on your way out.
Oh,
today.
thank you so much.
Yes, because I don't believe in letting you hang. All right, Mr. Jim, what do you got for us?
Oh my. Well, I was really astounded and very grateful for something that happened. There are two people that I've been talking to that have been at the end of their rope, according to them, for years now with their families, and feeling totally dejected and lost in this world and feel unwelcome with everybody. And by golly, I brought the two of them together and they hit it off and they started complimenting each other and saying they'd support each other. And I was so shocked to hear it because I hadn't heard that come out of either one of them before.
Wow,
That was so cool.
that is cool.
It was very cool. I don't know if it'll stick, but I was so glad to hear it.
Well, everything's a beginning, and sometimes when a split happens, you can be separated by days, weeks, months, years, decades, and it's kind of refreshing to hear that people get back together. My folks, it runs in the family basically. So my mother would fight with her brothers and sisters, and then wouldn't talk to them for months at a time. And my father's family had a bit of the same thing happening. He was one of 8 children.
Yeah.
And he had a brother that was going to adopt his daughter because the wife died in childbirth. And a year into it, brother comes down, takes child with him, and escapes Washington, D.C. And it was... they hadn't talked to each other right up until the time my dad died when I was 18. So,
Wow.
yeah.
I think Jess has one to share with us.
Oh, did we?
Good.
Okay. Let's have one.
It's a positive, uplifting one.
Oh, she doesn't have the thing.
No, I'm working on it. There we go. All right. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now.
Okay. Cool. So yeah, I take MTA Mobility,
Yes.
and when I have my longer trips, that's what I use because then I can't. It's too much. U-Serve costs too much. And yeah, I've been using it a lot the last couple of weeks, and let's just say,
There's issues.
yeah, there's a lot of issues, and I got stranded up at GBMC on Wednesday.
Okay. What's it
Because-
called?
Mobility.
No.
Mobility.
What's it called?
GBMC.
Greater Baltimore Medical Center.
No. Mobility. What's the first letters?
MTA.
What does that stand for?
Well,
Maryland Transit Authority.
There you go. Right there. You just stated the problem. Go ahead.
Maryland
Continue.
Transit Authority. So on Tuesday night, when I came home, there was a supervisor that met them for the contractor.
Yeah.
They work with Transdev, and she wanted to come see the street because it's a dead end street and yada yada because they're not supposed to use driveways to turn around in.
Right.
Which they have been doing for years.
Sure.
And they have been doing, or they use the little gravel just past my house.
Right. Because there was some kind of a lawsuit.
And there must have been a more recent lawsuit because
That's how policies get made.
they're
Yeah.
they're
Yeah,
really,
that's
really
right.
reinforcing it now.
Yes.
And so, and I told her
Must
that.
have been a big
I'm
one.
like, I specifically told her that the seatbelts in sedans don't fit me right now.
Right.
And I just feel claustrophobic in them. Well, what did they send on Wednesday for my trip? A sedan.
All right.
They're like and the seatbelt doesn't fit, so I had to wait for a bus. Thankfully, it was only 15 minutes, but coming home was a different story.
Right.
It was going to take over an hour for a bus to come
Okay.
because they sent a sedan
Right.
again.
Yes.
And so it's like, okay, trying to walk through that and be like, okay, get it on my record to send a bus. I know they don't want to turn around and then drive.
Sure.
But we will sign, Gordon will sign a paper saying, oh, it's okay to turn around in the driveway. We're not going to blame you.
Right.
And
That
it's just
doesn't work.
Really frustrating because, having to go through that, because I've had to go through this hurdle before.
Uh-huh.
And I have to go through it all over again.
So what are you growing out of that?
I don't know, maybe some patience?
Okay.
And,
Yeah, it's
Yeah. It's hard. It's like, it's frustrating.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I got to go through this whole thing again and be like, okay.
Yes, and that depending on other people and then expectations.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's like they
Right.
changed it up on me, and I'm like, usually they give me a bus, and I said I need a bus, and even said it under my notes, and yeah.
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 Well,
Well, that's called government at work.
yes.
Yeah, they
Just
have-
because there's notes doesn't mean somebody's reading them.
Yes, that's absolutely.
We like to have our paper trail, right, in our paperwork. Right? That will save us.
Yes.
But-
It'll show up in court.
Paper never
yes,
saves.
exactly. Show up in court. I'm sure in the Bureau of Prisons there weren't a lot of policies put in place over stupid stuff, huh, Jim?
Oh, well, the one that really pushed me to retire was when they said psychologists were responsible for every inmate's emotional well-being.
Oh
Yeah.
my!
Well, I mean, you need safe spaces, and you need
That-
places, where they can get their teddy bears and their chocolate milk and cookies.
But wait a second.
That was written in policy by some high-heeled
Yes.
woman who'd never been in prison in her life and didn't know
Yes,
anything
but
about the situation.
You should have offered to change that for her
Absolutely.
and thrown her in
Absolutely.
a jail and let her see what the.
Let's see how you can practically carry this out. Maybe
Yeah.
have her do your job and see what it feels like to have to carry a impossible weight.
Well, with thousands of inmates that you get with a 40-man turnover every week, and you're supposed to know everything about them?
Right.
I
Right.
don't think so.
Yeah, I think maybe. What year did you retire?
2009, it just got worse.
Yeah, I think the social and emotional learning model that has entered into our schools had entered into the prison system also, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Oh, boy, it's bad.
Huh?
It's
Yeah.
bad, man.
Yeah.
But wait a second though. Did I hear you right earlier when you said you were responsible for their emotional well-being?
Correct. The title of psychologist.
What the?
Yeah. It is a what the. It is-
I mean, where's the
I
responsibility
didn't
on
know
their
you picked
side?
up a stutter, man. What's up with that? Not just joking.
Well,
How-
Gordon, you
how-
see, it's a victim world now.
Oh, it's
Yes.
a victim. Oh, it's a victim
Yeah.
world.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
And they are the
I'm
victims.
behind.
Yes.
They're the victims, and we're the
That explains
perpetrators.
everything.
Yes. That's good.
Yes, I heard the New York Mayor Mondami talking about how the reason that his city is in debt is because they're not getting enough money from the state. The state
yeah.
needs to
Definitely.
step up and supplement so they can run their city properly.
So
There you go.
How about they get their act together?
What?
You're a radical.
He did
Oh,
say
I'm a radical.
he did say he was trying to balance the budget.
Yeah, try harder. Do or do not. There is no try.
Yeah, thank you very much. So you're
That
actually
sounds like
saying,
a soundbite.
Yes.
yeah, you're actually trying to say that the city is saying that the state should step up,
Yes.
so that the city can grow up.
Yes, exactly.
I
Right.
see.
They're the
That's-
victim in this
I
situation.
understand.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of you stepping up by yourself and growing.
No,
up
no,
by
no.
yourself.
They're a victim of circumstance.
Oh.
And no.
But he wanted the job.
Well. Who was
the
in charge
table-
before him?
The table was already set.
And who was in charge before him?
I think.
Yes,
it was-
exactly.
Yeah,
We know
yeah.
the problem.
Well, how about they get the milk bottle out of their mouth?
Well, he could just issue a fatwa, and then it would all be taken care of.
There you go.
Yeah, and we'll.
You better stop cussing at me like that, man.
Yeah, that.
Anyway, cool. So
So, how do you step up in life?
How do you?
do you grow up
Right.
in life when you don't believe you're the problem?
you're screwed.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, right there is a problem right there because, just like we talked about a couple minutes ago, with this whole victim mentality thing, right?
Yeah.
And, to me, it seems like America has gone to a place where, nothing's ever my fault, even though it is my fault, but I'm going to sue you.
Yes.
Yeah, we can even do that too.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that aren't even employed that is their main means of income, lawsuits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my.
But I'm hoping that people will see that when there is a constant problem running through their life where people are disrespecting them or people don't appreciate them or on and on and on about woe is me,
Yeah.
that they might try to take a look at that as a subject and see that there is a theme that runs through every one of those
It's a river
complaints.
running through it.
Yeah, and that river is their life. And when you're blaming everything on everybody else, there it is. you are the common factor, and in that common factor, something's got to change. Otherwise, insanity
Ensues.
ensues.
Yeah.
And Jim, doesn't that sound something close to correct?
Oh, I would think so. And, if we don't instill in children at a very early age the idea of service and responsibility and
Yeah.
doing for other people, they're just going to sit there and suck off of society the rest of their lives
The teat of society.
and blame everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we had a 10-year-old who just crashed into a stop sign
Yeah.
driving a car. I think someone else was in the car with him.
Yes, he had a friend, a 12-year-old friend.
Yeah.
He carjacked that car.
Yeah.
Oh, my.
And so they say that the police picked him up and took him home.
Yes, because he's 10 years old.
Right.
That's
and he,
correct.
he can't have any consequences
Yes.
because, my goodness gracious, he's 10.
Yeah, in Baltimore, they're doing the inspector general of the city, of course, where the mayor and city council are speaking the language of transparency, but of course are blocking them, blocking the inspector general from accessing documents, or they're giving documents that have been blacked out.
Yeah. 100%.
Page number 1. That's the
Everything
only thing
else
you
is
can
black.
see.
They
Yeah.
call that redacted.
Yeah, there you go. They've been redacting documents.
Redacted.
And
Protect the
Monzi,
innocent.
so apparently,
That's a guilty.
apparently
Yeah.
Monzi, and that is a government, basically an organization that runs a program where folks who have been incarcerated are paid to keep the streets safe, Safe Streets program. So Monzi runs that program, but apparently they are also in the Department of Justice, juvenile justice, and they have an office there. So when a young man does get picked up by the police, that's a juvenile, they come in and then they're sent into the Office of Diversion. So they don't even go into they don't even go through the process of juvenile justice. They're diverted from that process, and they go into the office where the Department of Diversion, and in there they actually are given a money app, and they're paid. They are paid to not commit crimes. They're paid to do the right thing.
Can I act like a 10-year-old?
Well, Dave.
Well, I just thought, if it's free money, I mean, what do
Yeah.
I need to do?
Yeah. So, and what
Well,
are
at
we
least they
teaching?
could get an entrepreneurial spirit by subcontracting the crime.
There you go.
Oh.
I think you hit the
Yeah.
nail on the head, Jim.
Wow.
I think you hit the nail on the head. What is our government? What are they growing by the policies?
Yeah.
Well, it's not anything that's brass.
They're these young folks that are getting caught up here. Not caught up. They're committing crimes.
They're committing crimes.
And so their choices are putting them in. Well, they're also harming actual victims.
Yes.
Right? There's actual victims to the crime. So that's being totally bypassed or ignored. So, starter question here: this step up to grow up. Obviously, our leaders that we've been talking about aren't stepping up, and they aren't grown up,
Right.
and they aren't challenging like the juveniles that we're talking about to actually step up and
Right.
grow up, because they're letting them literally victimize.
But when you're trained that there aren't any consequences, at what point in life do you start realizing, oh, there really are consequences? Mm-hmm. And that's unfair because I haven't had consequences my whole life. And all of a sudden, you're saying because I turned a magic number that all of a sudden I'm supposed to know better?
Right, right. You don't have that growing up. Yeah. So when we talk about stepping up and growing up, when we think about that, there's something I think to be said about growing character when you're stuck in the middle of a mess.
Right.
Right. Anybody got some comments or thoughts on that? Commentary?
Well, I'll agree that in most people who have had some boundaries, that their character does grow in the middle of a mess. But if you haven't had any consequences growing up,
Right.
I'm not sure how your character starts getting formed when you're in that mess.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like we're doing a disservice to our young people because they don't understand that yes means yes, no means no, and do not touch means do not touch.
Yeah. Yeah. Certainly.
They're still in the high chair throwing the food around the kitchen.
There you go. What a great illustration, Jim. What a great illustration. So the response to the mess that they're in, I mean, it always does provide an opportunity. I think Jess was sharing some mess that she was stuck in this past week, and talking about how that was challenging for her, and caused her to have to figure out how to respond in a way that's good. Right, Jess?
Yeah.
So did you rip Gordon's head off when you got home?
No.
Oh, good. Good.
No. Though he's ready to rip Mobility's head off.
Oh, he's ready to rip Mobility's. So you're saying this was an opportunity for Gordon's growth too?
Yes,
Your mess.
yes, Larden to show restraint.
Very good. Very good.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Jim, you got anything along those lines about mess being a great opportunity for growth?
Well, yeah. I hate to say a prison experience, but
Yeah.
there are a lot of opportunities for tripping up and
Okay.
getting your butt in a sling, particularly when things go south and somebody does something wrong, either through neglect or purposeful action on the staff's part, and another staff member has to take a stand to do something right. It's very, very difficult. And when you see that, when you see someone standing tall and not just covering their tracks
Yes.
and doing what's right and saying, this is where I'm implicated, this is where I did wrong, this is what I should have done, and this is what the trouble that I caused, that is huge.
Yeah.
And it really forms character for everybody in the entire institution. It really does.
Right.
And believe it or not, the inmates see that.
So in a sense, it's like modeling a little bit.
It is. It's manning up and modeling.
Yeah.
Both.
Yeah.
And taking your lumps instead of trying to pass it or deny it,
Right. Right.
like
Well,
that.
but that's so anti-American.
What?
Well,
It's always about blaming somebody else.
What? We're not doing that. We're supposed to be forming our character out of the rock that is hard like our heads.
Yeah, and I could also see, Jim, how that can be dangerous when people don't do what needs to be done, and somebody else is put in a bad situation because that other person didn't do what they were supposed to do. They handled it wrong, if you will. Now they put that other person in a dangerous situation because now they're stuck with the same decision.
well, I saw it on film,
Yeah.
and it was put in annual training when two officers, actually it was a superior and an officer, went to lock down the population, and they didn't get past the first two doors before inmates came out to stab the officers, and the one that they were really trying to get went and locked himself safely in an office while the other one was stabbed to death.
Oh, wow.
And there you go, right? That's the example of the consequences.
That
Right?
has been
Extreme consequences.
put out there in annual training every year.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
he could have done something different.
right. So when we don't step up, it certainly impacts and can cause the death of somebody else.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
I guess, and a word that comes to mind when we're talking about that is appeasement.
Yes.
You know, we can see that on the world stage.
Oh,
we
we
can
can.
see that with how our government has handled adversaries that want to take us out and take out the rest of the world, for that matter.
Right.
And bribing people, like our mayor is trying to bribe these kids
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
money
Yeah, to
not
behave.
commit, to behave, not
Yes.
commit crime, to do
Right.
the right thing.
Right. But if they don't even understand what the right thing is, how the heck is the money doing any good?
I mean, if I get to have a free joyride and I get paid by the city to be able to have free joyrides, I mean, come on now, that's some great benefits.
It's exhausting. That's all. That was what I was trying to say. It's just totally exhausting. But my greatest worry is that as parents, we're not doing our children any favors whatsoever by being lenient,
Right.
by
right.
helping them understand that someone's property is actually someone's property.
Yeah.
And you don't get to touch it because it belongs to someone else who works
That's right.
for it, who went and bought it, who took care of it for years until you tried to lift it off their property and take it for your own.
But it's my right to have access to that because you've lived a privileged life. That's why you have those things.
And exactly where did we find that that wonderful thought to live by?
In our school system,
Oh no!
in our prison system, in our police
Perish
department,
the thought.
in our
Perish.
churches.
Perish the thought.
In your business school,
There you go. There you go.
your law school,
Yeah. Yeah.
where did the ethics go?
Exactly. What are ethics anyway?
Yeah.
When we think about so we're talking about the problems that
Again.
we see here, and
Yep.
ultimately it comes down to personal choices, right? People are making.
personally- Okay, but who's really making the choices? The parents are making the choices for the kids. Yes.
Well, they make a choice, yeah.
Yeah, but the kids don't know any better when they're little.
So then we have, well, I'm a victim of my parents not teaching me. Then
Well,
when does
it's-
that change? When does that? When do you?
Well, that's a
Are
very
responsible for your own choices?
That's a very good question. But if you've never been responsible ever, you can't just magically flip a switch and say you're now responsible.
Nope.
And that's what it's almost like what our
So whose
society
fault
doing.
is it?
So they run before a judge, a liberal judge, and they're like, "Oh, the poor little guy. You know, he was such a fine young man when he was in my courtroom. I think I should let him off."
Sure.
And so
But
they
remember,
had a lady.
the parents didn't teach him, so it's okay.
Well, that's basically what the judge is saying,
Sure.
and I'm saying, nope.
Exactly. Where do we draw the line? But so when we talk about building character, ultimately character is built in darkness or in tension or in stress or in situations where we're not comfortable. And so, but we have to make some choices to engage something, because I think Jim nailed it when he was talking about that training video that was shown. That was a live video, a real video where somebody was murdered because they were abandoned and left essentially to die by one of their so-called comrade in arms who was supposed to be there.
Yeah, to help defend them.
Yes, and also ultimately protect. They're there to protect the inmates also, right, Jim?
That's right.
Yeah.
And you know how the Bureau of Prisons handled that?
No.
They promoted the one that locked himself in the office.
And there you go. There
Well,
you
the
go.
other one they couldn't very well promote.
True that. So this now what we want to really do is we want to move away from pointing our finger at other people, right?
Yes.
And we want to talk about taking ownership and how taking ownership or responsibility for your actions or your inactions or what you say or what you don't say taking responsibility for that ultimately pushes you in a place of development and growth. This stepping up and owning something puts you in a place where you can grow and change
Right.
and become a better person, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So
How is it that the armed services, which you were a member of, how is it that they teach young men how to be men?
Yeah.
Really, when you get
basic
down to it?
training.
Yeah.
They basically tell you, here's the rules. You will follow these rules, and if you break them, there will be punishment for you and everybody else because you broke the rule and decided to think about yourself.
Right.
Consequences.
Right.
Yes.
And you
So-
you learn about team support.
Yes. Yes. They put you
Very
in
important.
put you in positions where you see that you're valuable to the team, and when you don't perform the task like you're supposed to perform it, other people get hurt.
Right.
That's right.
And it's a great
Object
thing.
lesson.
And they do
Object
that
lessons.
in months. They do that in months. So if you think about what can happen and the potential for people to change and grow into somebody responsible, it's pretty massive. I mean, our armed forces do it all the time. That's a great example.
Yeah.
But they're put in positions where it's hard. They're put in positions where they don't know how to do something, where there's a challenge they don't know how to overcome. And they're taught how to do it, but then they have to step up,
And do it.
and that's how they grow up.
Right.
Yeah.
But we spend $100,000+ a year. Well, in an education of a young person,
Sure.
from kindergarten all the way through high school,
Right.
We spend that money freely, but we're not getting those kind of results. So
Right.
the question ultimately is, what are we doing wrong, and how do we make it right?
Social and emotional learning.
Well, they've got the emotional learning down real good, don't they? Oh, I need a safe space.
Do you know how that SEL works, Rob?
Tell me, man. I'm
You,
glad
you,
you're
you
piping
probably
in.
do. There's one model where they come in and evaluate, an outside group comes in and evaluates all the students in a given class. And each student is assigned a color, green, orange, or red. Meaning green, meaning they're okay socially. Orange, we better watch out. Could be a conservative. Red, we got problems, and this kid needs to be isolated and needs
Yes.
to be dealt with in a way that is really not very helpful. So these kids are tagged with this, and it follows them right through school.
Yeah.
And it's insidious. It's
It,
insidious.
So it's essentially labeling somebody based on some guy or woman who's highly trained in this.
highly,
Yes.
yeah.
And they
It's
get paid.
like having a social score from the time you start school.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. No, I didn't know that, Jim. Thank you
Yes,
for
it's true.
giving
It's
me the
true.
details, because I started reading a book a couple days ago, and they were talking about how the social emotional learning has had its impact, right? They didn't really go into the details like you just did, so I do appreciate that. They didn't, but they did talk about the impact that it's had on the kids and, therefore our culture.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
But I mean, you spend $240,000 educating a child from really even kindergarten up till they graduate from high school, and they're not prepared for the world that they're going to face when they get out there, the real world,
Right.
And not they're prepared for some kind of anarchy that, if they indicate that they're unhappy loud enough, then everybody should be listening
Right.
to them instead of trying to convince people with their ideas, their thoughts, and their way to put an argument together.
Yeah, yeah. But I think the model of learning that we have, I remember taking my first English class in college. Oh my Lord,
Yeah.
I want to use a not a nice word right now, but that's what happened. It was a rough class for me, but I needed that class and I needed that teacher because she didn't let me get away
Yeah.
with anything
Right.
that I'd gotten away with for 12 years.
Right.
Before I got to college. When I got there, she basically was like, drew a line in the sand, is you ain't going no further.
Yeah.
When you leave my class, you will be able to
do.
Yes. Yeah. You'll be able to write a paper and a sentence, which is terrible.
An actual sentence. You mean
Which
complete
it's-
with the period and all?
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
wow.
Yes. And
Rob, I
hard.
ran into the same thing exactly.
yeah.
They nailed me in freshman English. And
Yes.
I'd gotten nothing but straight A's in English all my life. They told me I did not know how to write an expository sentence. Well, I didn't even know what that was.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's a big word.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now, isn't that
yeah.
sad?
Well, I learned.
Yeah.
What's that?
I said, isn't that a sad statement about our education system, our educators?
Yeah.
I would say so. And
Yeah.
you know, the rest of my life has all been expository writing, so I'm grateful.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, and it's massive transformation. I'm very grateful for that English teacher. I'll never forget her. I don't know what her
Right.
name is because I don't really remember my teachers' names, but she was one
Yeah.
of the people I look back to and I say, thank God that God put her in my life and I crossed her path because she called me out and she challenged me really to step up. And
There you
in
go.
that place, I grew up, and you know, I have to write a lot too, so. It's been a major part of my life. And I remember being in high school and one of my guidance counselors calling me in. And, you know, it's the end of the 12th grade year. We got to get all the 12th graders in so we can check off the box and said we had our meeting with them. But of course, they're just checking box. But,
Yes.
you know, the purpose of that meeting was to make sure that we're pointed in the right direction in life.
Yeah.
And of course, yeah, full of doo-doo brown on that one.
Beep.
But I can remember that teacher saying, "Yeah, I think you need to join the military because you're not going to be able to get through college. You don't have what it takes to do that."
Wow.
You're
You know.
kidding me, Rob.
Oh no,
You're kidding me.
No. But
Oh my goodness.
I'm just thinking like, and I saw a billboard today that said every child or every student has potential. You know, has potential to be developed. And then it had a picture of a teacher next to a student, and it said that's why teachers matter. And I thought every teacher has the potential
Yes.
to develop the potential of the student,
Everyone.
but most
Right.
Do not.
or the system set up in such a way that you know they don't care about that,
Right.
right?
I just want to know how many days I get off a year. I also
Ex-
want to
oh,
know
hold on.
what are my medical benefits and
Yes.
do I get holidays?
What do my
and,
teacher development
overtime?
days look like?
Yeah.
Yes.
Dave,
wanna-
I want the answers to the No Child Left Behind tests, so I can just teach that to the kids.
There.
Yeah,
you
and
go.
that way the child won't be left behind. I mean, that's,
Exactly.
Yes.
And
We're
I
getting-
get money.
We're doing
And
some
and they-
social and emotional learning now. Come on. I mean,
Hey.
leering.
leering. Yes, you're leering.
Yes. So I think next week when we jump back into the topic here, I want to really get to the we've been pointing out the issues and the struggles,
Yes.
but I want to get to how do we engage? Like, how do we and the folks that are listening, how do we engage a culture that is like basically running off the target all the time? How do we engage a culture that's saying I'm a victim? How do we engage leaders or systems? And why does that happen? You know,
Right.
why does that happen? And why do we need to really engage?
Well, because we're slowly but surely losing our country.
Yeah.
And there's just no standards anymore that anybody can grab onto and say, yes, I know this is a standard. I know this is the way we will live. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
moving target.
Well, I mean, by balkanizing the whole United States into different groups, we've lost the American culture, the assimilation of people from all over the world who want to be Americans.
Right.
There's no
Thank you.
Yeah, there's no unifying force
Mm-hmm.
in America anymore. Our neighborhoods used to be a unifying force.
Communities.
Yes, and I mean, I barely know the people in my neighborhood. I know
Yeah.
some of them, but
Amen.
my wife doesn't know half as many as I know.
Right.
But I go out there and I'm outside working, and if somebody comes by, I just look at them and say, "Hey, you live down the street?"
And they run the other direction.
Right.
Susie, get away from that lunatic. Yeah.
Exactly. That guy wants to talk to us.
Yeah, right.
You got to get away from him.
Yeah. Well, we got one guy who runs down the street with a beer and tries to hand me a beer.
Oh, that's cool, man.
It is, but I drink whiskey.
But for that moment,
Yeah, I'm drinking beer.
gotta drink a beer, brother. So, Jim, when we were talking yesterday, just catching up, what was some of the things that were like on your mind or heart?
Well, there was a lot.
Yeah,
Certainly,
I know.
I believe that we really have to have a very strong role model system for our kids and not neglect that in any way possible.
Right.
And that, of course, starts with the family.
Yeah.
But in everyday life, kids have to be willing to serve, understand the importance of it,
Yeah.
and their place in the system, the place in the family, the place in the school, the place in the workplace, the place in the army, wherever you are.
Yeah.
And how important that place is, how integral you are to that function,
Yes.
and not be hiding somewhere and shirking responsibility and being waited on all the time. It's essential that kids learn that from a very early age.
Yeah, I think all of us have been involved with Youth for Christ at one time or another, and I think Youth for Christ is a great vehicle for that. I know we ran clubs Youth for Christ generally runs clubs for middle school and high school students, and they really engage young people. A lot of them, like we're talking about, don't have what you're talking about, Jim, that example. And so what I love about Youth for Christ is, that's your mission. Your mission is go out there, engage young people, and walk with them and help them to grow, help them to learn how to step up and why that's important and what the benefits are when you step up. I mean, there's blessings that come when you step up. And also, I think, you grow up because you have to jump in a place where maybe you're not able to, it's not easy for you to interact in. Like you're put in a position that you haven't been in before. You're asked to do something that you haven't done before, and people are counting on you to get something done.
Right.
And then when you do get it done, man, the blessings that flow out of that.
Right.
Absolutely.
So I think maybe we'll pick this up next week.
Yeah.
And because this is and there's reasons I think we were talking about yesterday, Jim. There's reasons that the brokenness and the woundedness that people have in them, just from growing up, if you will, and being in a world with messed up people and being a messed up person. There's deep-seated things that are obstacles that get in our way that can be engaged and dealt with and overcome.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I think
Yes.
we've opened up a great discussion here in the next couple weeks. Any kind of concluding thoughts, Gordon?
It's gonna be a wild ride. It's gonna be a wild ride, as always.
Yes.
Yeah, well, that's our way of being in this world. But we want people to comment. We want people to ask us questions and let us know you're out there. Subscribe, if you would, please. And you can also use the chat portion during the podcast, and we'll answer a question if you've got a question to ask us. And if not, just put it in an email. It's D.Mayer, M-A-I-E-R, at truecharactermatters, all run together, .org. And I promise you I will get back to you.
Yes.
And, we want you to know you're not alone. We're here. There are a lot of people like us in this world.
Yeah.
And getting connected is more important than you can believe.
Absolutely. And for us, doing a podcast and starting a podcast at the at the age that we are, this has been a challenge, and you guys can see it. It's apparent that it's a struggle, but this is our stepping up in the place where we see a hole in the world, if you will.
Right.
It's kind of our mission that we believe we've been called on by God, and we want to walk with people, and we want to help you to grow, and we want to learn how to and grow into stepping up and growing up together. So, join us next week, and we'll jump into part 2 of this discussion and get deep.
We need to get deep.
There you go.
Bring your questions. We want them. We'll talk to you as you communicate with us. Have a great weekend. You remember.
Take care,
you're not-
folks.
So Grit Grown here. Brew is out.